Monster Hunter Wilds is probably the most anticipated Monster Hunter game since Monster Hunter World. Don't shoot me now. No, I'm sorry, but Monster Hunter Rise was cool, but I feel like Capcom has just brought back a banger, right? A complete follow-up from Monster Hunter World. We now have Monster Hunter Wilds, being a huge next installment that was announced at PlayStation State of Play. Today I do want to just go over a couple of things that I've noticed while watching this trailer. Granted, this trailer is only about like a minute, 2 minutes long, so there's not much we can grasp. This is their second trailer that they did drop. They dropped one last year, just kind of showcase like, hey, this game is in production, it is being made, and it's amazing. Today, during the State of Play, we actually got a release date, and it showcased a lot of new features that is coming to the game and some old features that are now being reintroduced. One of the main things that I've noticed during was this one may be a slight controversial, probably not, but bear with me here. We have a voiced protagonist. So yes, for the very first time in the entire series, the series has been out for 10, 15 plus years. We have a voiced protagonist, not a voiceless. They don't just nod their head and they just, wave their hand across, or they whatever. They show their emotions to showcase that they are, communicating with the other characters. No, our character now has a full-on voice. Now, whether that's a W or a overall massive L, let me know what you guys think. I'm on board with the voiced protagonist, essentially. I like the idea of that. Overall, getting into this thing of we can actually see where Capcom really wants this, how lively or how alive they want this game to really feel, and giving our character a bit more depth other than just customizing them in the character creator screen. You can add a little bit more depth. Our character can even interact and have dialogue while out on hunts. So I'm on the side of the voiced protagonist. Let me know what you guys think, because it's something new. I don't mind the voiceless protagonist part, but I do like the idea or direction that Capcom is actually trying to go. I just hope they do the character justice. If we're going to get a voice protagonist, definitely have some banger dialogue or something that would help further transform our character to like newer heights and really build the relationships with the NPCs, making Monster Hunter a new overall like game, which can help introduce players to the Monster Hunter like games. A lot of people haven't played older Monster Hunters back on PS2 and PSP, and I think most people, their very first game was either Monster Hunter Rise or Monster Hunter World. So overall, to some newer players, that may be, you may not even give a rat's ass whether there's a voice protagonist. And then for some players, you might do care. You might want to have that nostalgia. Let me know. But I do want to, while we're talking about previous to new gen, the graphics is absolutely dumb crazy, bro. I was looking at this, I'm like, bro, ain't no way. They Capcom always finds a way to just like, how can we just keep making these graphics better and better? And you could tell that Capcom style to it has that flavor to it, that taste, right? Watching Monster Hunter Wilds, it is probably the most visually appealing game that I've seen from Capcom, and that's saying something, because if you look at Monster Hunter World, something that was back on the PS4, and then you look at Monster Hunter Rise, and you can definitely see differences within like art style, like the art direction and the overall graphics. And then boom, we hop back into Wilds, and then when you look at World and Wilds, that like put them two next step by side, you could definitely see like the years of a difference from Monster Hunter World that was released all the way back in 2018 versus now Monster Hunter Wilds, now that will be in 2025 when it's released. So speaking of graphics, one other thing that is actually pretty cool, and I actually like when developers add these into the games, the major thing I noticed is the brand new locations, right? But there's a couple key things about these locations, right? So one of the major locations is this huge desert biome. Throughout the trailer, you kind of see the team come across this biome a lot, and this specific location has real bad weather. So you got the very dry desert, but then all of a sudden, as time goes on, we get thunderstorms and sandstorms. And after doing a little bit of digging, this actually affects your gameplay. So in D&D or any other RPG, whenever there's rain or something of that nature, ice or survival games and stuff like that, like, and when you have something that is affecting terrain, it makes it quite difficult. So this could mean a couple of things. It could unlock new combat scenarios. It can add new traversal areas, right? Because it's raining over there, it might unlock something, that some games do it, some games don't, but there's plenty ways that Capcom can go about this. Or hell, what if it gets to nighttime and all of a sudden we get newer creatures, and daytime we get specific creatures, or because it rained, it actually somehow caused another monster on the other side of the place to get enraged. Speaking about monsters, though, another thing that is actually quite new that I've noticed is the herd of monsters. So during the trailer, you will notice that all the monsters are now herding up in groups and kind of having more of a actual animal lifestyle. I don't know what to really call it, but the ecosystem, essentially, right? Now, as we know, Monster Hunter, and most of the time when you play Monster Hunter, you pick up a quest or a hunt, you go to said area, and you may come across wildlife, and you may come across a monster or two that has nothing to do with your main hunt, and you go straight up to it. But now it just seems like there's an abundance of that. Instead of it just be like, oh, one or two little lizard guys over there, like, no, it's the whole family, bro. You got the entire ops on you at this moment. So that is actually pretty cool. Moments like these pretty much require some form of strategy, I would hope, since like when you're looking at a trailer, the player character is luring one of the alpha big dudes out of the way by causing a trap to like actually set off in the background to stop his buddies from joining in. So basically making this a nice 1v1 for the time period. Now it'll be pretty weird. I want to see how it actually plays out next year to see whether they will, when you block them off, is that something like, oh, okay, I only got like, I don't know, 45 seconds or a minute or something on that. That was a weird, I just came out with just 45 seconds. Besides the point, 40 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever, anything amount of time, whether like, hey, I got this amount of time to actually take care of this dude. If not, the friends are coming along, or by actually doing that actually just makes them null and void. Like now it's a 1v1. We're not running into no Jumjutsu Kaisen around here. Now, while combat is pretty fun, there's also a couple new things, some new reinvented and new feature. One of the coolest things that we actually get to bring 2 weapons into our hunts instead of the usual 1 weapon per hunt. Thanks to the new mount, which hopefully I pronounced this right, the Sacred. This buddy very much allows you to travel to, the open massive plains, which helps because in the last 2 previous Monster Hunter games, you had to walk your happy ass back to the base camp, swap out your weapons. You had to do a lot of extra things, but now you can do it on the go. And you can also carry the second weapon on your mount. So if you want, you can just run up with the greatsword, hop on the mount, swap out, boom, you got bowgun, which adds another flavor to the overall game. With that being said, that seems like the mount is probably going to be the most important thing in the main point of this game. Like, this is a very valuable asset, and you need to utilize it to the best of your ability. With the mount being able to go pretty much anywhere, and it can even pick you up when you're knocked down, they help out tremendously. So being a mini camp as well while you're out and about, so you don't have to keep going from home base to your hunts. This make sure that you can stop your allotted time, or travel time to be exact, from stopping the action, going back, stopping the action, going back, instead of you do the hunt, boom, you got like 20 seconds before they take you back home. Like, you actually can grind a lot efficiently. I don't know the best way to put it. We got to see how the game works out before I say, oh, you don't have to worry about wasting your time, and developers not trying to waste your time. Moving on, we have another feature, which is the new focus mode, which pretty much essentially looks like a heavy counter or parry system. When you pull it off, it sets up pretty much a whole sequence. And looking at the trailer, my man's actually slid his greatsword like right on the monster's teeth, holding them back. And it seemed like with the friend, they were able to attack the monster while you're holding down a fort, right? The focus practically allows us to guard, aim, and even think out, like make sure your attacks are more precise and more thorough, which can help you set up those nice big banger attacks where like you actually knock the shit out of this monster. Like he didn't know what was coming to him and you just knocked him off his ass. Like one of them nice good heavy hits. Overall, Capcom did show a debut trailer, like I said last year. This year's gameplay trailer really showed off what the studio has been cooking since Monster Hunter Rise. I personally didn't care too much for Monster Hunter Rise, but Wilds is looking to be the next big step in the monster hunting action RPG, especially when a lot of features have returned from Monster Hunter World. Between the SOS flare calling for backup, which you can bring in more friends, the 14 weapon types from Monster Hunter World is coming back, and even the slinger weapon to help get crafting items and even set off traps. The overall ecosystem of the biomes being quite dynamic and very much alive. During the exploration, Monster Hunter quests happen seamlessly, so you can be able to hunt without needing to pick up the quest for the hunt. The Sacred Mount really adds depth to this open world feeling to the world and how useful they can be as well. And the Palicos, our little cat guys, they also make a return. This trailer makes the fact of Monster Hunter Wilds a lot more hype, and I can't even wait for next year when it releases in 2025. But speaking of another game that is releasing in 2025, you guys need to go check out Dynasty Warriors Origins. I actually just covered it not even a day ago, so I'll leave it in the card right here if you guys want to check it out, or it's going to be in the cards in the top right hand corner. It was revealed at the State of Play, and by far another banger that I can't wait for 2025. And as always, stay safe out there, and it's been your host, Chaos DTV, here at Chaotic Inc., signing out. Peace.